nickname is Bunny, and when I was looking for a nick for Instagram and Twitter and the rest of it, and I bake, I thought Bunny's Baker doesn't sound right. It sounds like Bunny Boiler. So
That's true, yeah.
I thought, well, Baker's Bunny is as good as it's gonna get, and that's what it's been like for the past 10 years.
Yeah. So many will know you because you were the first Scottish contestant in the British Bake Out. How long ago is that now?
That was 2010, so 10 years ago. Yeah, wow. Same time as the Instagram and Twitter nick.
So the two of us, we met through the industry, I suppose, on one of the many networking things, and then you got me into the radio show where I did a travel show, and you did a foodie show, and you're also the principal judge of the Scottish Hotel Awards.
Principal food judge.
Oh, I'm sure you're right. Yes, it's all about food. This is what we're saying.
Yes, we're not here to judge.
So our idea was, since we're not allowed to travel and we can't really, most of the restaurants have shut, definitely all the hotels have shut. You can get some takeouts, but we thought, since you've been traveling Scotland far and wide to judge food, but also to enjoy food like you do, you've traveled in your own time as well. So we thought you could maybe take us on a mental journey.
Take you on a mental journey. Oh, that's where to go. I think we'll venture north. I mean, one of the things that we always do, that's my husband Simon and I, is it doesn't matter whereabouts we're travelling, we always leave early to have breakfast somewhere, whether it's we take a frying pan and eggs and bacon and a buttered roll and coffee and a gas cooker thing to make our own breakfast, or whether we plan our routes so we actually stop somewhere. And if we're heading north, one of the places that we always tend to go to is Moor 84 on the A84, just outside Callander.
Getting better with the technical things. Let's give us a second.
Yes.
Yeah. So Moor 84, everyone can see it now. So tell us about Moor 84.
Yeah, it's by the turn off to Balquhidder, which is where Rob Roy's grave is.
Yes.
They do fantastic breakfast there. They sourdough bread. I always have the eggs Benedict, and it's always eggs from Tom Lewis's hotel, which is down at Monacle Moor, which is another fabulous place to go. Again, it's off the beaten track. So we always stop there for an hour or so, have breakfast, and then we sort of wend our way north. We try and stay off the main roads as much as possible. So we try not to go on the A9. I hate the A9 with a passion. There are some really nice bits, but it's a horrible road. I really don't like it. So whenever we go north, we tend to go out via Crian Larach, or as I call it, Crian Larach. Trying to clear your throat. And then you get to Tyndrum, and you can either turn off to the left to go to Oban that way, or you go through Glencoe. And on that road, I love that road. It's not particularly busy, and it's straight. So if you do get stuck behind a truck, it's easy to overtake. But there's a fantastic hotel called the Bridge of Ochie Hotel.
Yes.
The chef there is a fantastic guy called David Hetherington, who was at the hotel. What was it? It was in Luss. I can't remember the name of the hotel, but he's a really good chef. And I can't remember. The name escapes me. Brain like
Luss Arms, the biggest hotel in Luss is the Luss Arms.
Yeah, it could be. Yes,
they have good cuisine.
Yeah. That's it, the Luss Arms. So he moved out to the Bridge of Ochie, and just as all this stuff hit, he was going to be opening up his signature restaurant there. Yeah. So everything's been put on the back boiler like everything else. But when everything opens up, I highly recommend going there for either breakfast or coffee and cake, or if you're staying there, it's a really nice spot. There's some fantastic walks. It's a really good spot. It's
like when we are on the coach tours, like if it's small, we could actually stop. On the coach tours, we always rush past it.
Oh, don't rush.
Well,
stop.
no, I mean though, because usually
you can't
stop
usually
and
stop
time
with
them.
46 people all at once. They'd probably have a heart attack, you know.
Yeah. So we usually stop and time them at the Green Welly, and then we're all the way through to Glencoe.
Yeah.
Always wanted to know what that was like, because it looks so nice.
I think if you give them prior notice, they can most probably.
Yeah, I actually stopped there, a smaller group, but it had been pre-booked. I think it was I think we had 28 American ladies on an Outlander tour, and we stopped there for scone and coffee. So
yeah, it's a good route. It's a good route, and of course, as you're going along that road, you're heading through into Glencoe. There's a turn off to, and I can never pronounce this, Lochative.
Yes, it's the James Bond turn off now.
Yeah, it's James Bond.
Yes,
it wasn't the James Bond turn off when I first went down there, but and that again, it's a beautiful diversion.
Especially all the way down to the end. We took a group down there, drove all the way to the end to the loch. There was deer on the side of the road, and we stopped, and you could walk up to the deer, and there's so many little stops along the way. And
it's beautiful. I've got loads, and I can't, like, when I was looking for photographs, I have no idea where all my photographs from up north have disappeared to, up somewhere in the cloud that won't let me access it. I have hundreds of pictures of deer and Highland coos and anything that is pretty, I would take photographs of. Maybe not so brilliant, but hey ho, such is life. So and then you come out of Glencoe and then out of Lochative and go down through Glencoe. I mean, I've been through there when it's been brilliant sunshine, or it's been snowing, or you can't see one side of the road to the other, and it's forever changing. It's a phenomenal road. I love it. It's so beautiful and atmospheric. It's one of my favorite roads. I want to go back there. It doesn't seem as if it was, when was it? 8 weeks ago that I was there.
Yeah.
I
won't ever forget the first time I came up there, and it was completely random. It was for work for Visit Scotland at the time, and I had no idea where I was going. You know, I was on the way to Glenfinnan actually for a food there, and actually probably even to Skye. And I drove through it, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing!" And when you don't know about something, then it hits you even harder. Whereas now, everyone goes there, but it's still to this day one of my absolute favorite routes. So it doesn't matter what time of day, what time of light you have. You know, it's always good. It could actually even be completely in the fog, and it's still amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, you can understand where people like Tolkien have these visions of dragons and Mordor, where you drive along and you see wisps of mist coming out from the trees halfway up a hillside, and you sort of think that could be dragon's breath.
Well, it is. It's beautiful. I mean, even you got the huge boulders there, and you've just got like a random tree growing out from a cracked boulder, and it's like the place is so vast, especially like before you get there, when you're hitting Rannoch Moor, and it's almost lunar type landscape.
Yeah,
just
desolate.
It's something like the never-ending story, you know.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, these mountains appear ahead of you. It's like you've changed a movie, you know.
Yeah, it's
Braveheart. It's
one of as much as I love Glencoe, I think my favourite road through a glen has to be Asant, going through there. That to me is, as we come out of Ullapool, I sort of think my heart starts to quicken. I get goosebumps because I know where we're going. you get, I don't even know the name of the road. There's a road that takes you down to Summer Isles, and there's a turning to the left-hand side, and the right-hand side.
But it's so brilliant.
That takes you through a sant.
Yes.
And the amount of mountains that we have in Scotland, there's only 2 mountains that I actually recognise, and one of them is Stack Polly, and the other one is Sullivan.
Stack Polly,
because it's Sullivan's a bump, and Stack Polly always reminds me of a broken tooth, a jagged tooth, the way that it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, as soon as I hit that, I just sort of think, I know where we're going. We're heading out towards Kyleskew.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a foodie picture there, don't we?
Yeah, you've got a picture of the road going down to Kyleskew with Stack Polly.
Get there, yeah. All right. No, not us. We want to show her. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we've got the road, the picture of the road for you. Of the road
where you've got Stack Polly or whatever it is in Scottish. I can't pronounce it. And it's like I said, it always reminds me of a broken tooth. And so we heading out there, and there's a bend in the road. I don't even know whereabouts it is. I think it's by the Loch. Is it Loch Asant? It's a road to the left, and you just follow that round, and all of a sudden it opens up, and you can just see across the lochs. And again, I can't remember the name of the loch that Kyleskew is on, but the hotel at Kyleskew, I think, is one of my favourite places in Scotland. The girls that run it, Sonia and Tanya. Tanya's up front. Sonia's in the kitchen. Sonia's French. Tanya's English.
Foodie picture now.
And their ethos for their food is fantastic. They have the fisherman who goes out and gets the langoustines for them. He goes up to Kinlochbrevin, I think it is, and he calls the girls when he's there to say what fish they have in the market, and the girls say, yes, we'll have this and this, and he brings the fish back down along with the langoustines, and he keeps the langoustines in a creel by his boat, so whenever they need more, they just give him a shout, and he brings the creel up and brings out more langoustine.
This picture of the langoustines on the skewer just wanted to go and eat it right now.
I know. It's just, it will take me a good hour and a half to eat half a dozen langoustine, because I pull all the meat out the claws. I always say you haven't eaten langoustine unless you've got defensive wounds on your thumbs.
I'm lucky with the glasses. I end up having to clean all the goo off my glasses.
It has been known where I've had bits of langoustine hanging off my eyelashes, where I've popped it open and it's gone.
But you know what? I think it's either like whoever goes eating with me has to do it for me. I just hate having to crack the things. So I was like, you do it. I like eating it, not a problem with that. But like the whole, I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah, Simon, my husband, is exactly the same. He is not one into mucking about. So if we have crab, I have to pull it apart for him, because he says it's just too much mucking about. I just want to eat it. I don't want to play with it. You play with it. You just feed it, get it on the plate so I can eat it.
Okay, so we could all, like, him and I can go for food with you, and then or Sean can do it for me. But tell us more about the Kyleskew hotel, because that sounded really interesting.
It's beautiful. They've over the, it must be about 4 or 5 years ago, they built an extension. It's called Willie's House. Willie, when they first took over the hotel, Willie was a regular. He was an old boy, and he was always the last person to leave at the end of the season, and he was always the first person through the door at the beginning of the season. And he was in most days. He lived 45 minutes away, and he used to live nearer, but he moved. Yeah. And he would come in for lunch, so he would drive himself in. have lunch, chat to the girls, and then toddle off. So they decided when they extended that the extension was going to be called Willie's House. And he was absolutely over the moon about that. And unfortunately, I think he passed away last year or the year before, which was a great shame.
So did he see it finished or not?
Oh yeah. He saw it finished, which was just, he was proud as punched about it.
I would be, yeah. So.
But it's so friendly. Tanya in the morning will go around everybody at breakfast to find out what they're doing for the day. And people will say, oh, well, we're thinking of going to do this walk here and we're going to go here this afternoon. And she'll go away, she'll check the weather and she'll come back and she'll say, actually, I think you most probably find it's better if you go here first. Don't worry about doing whatever this afternoon because the weather's not going to be good there. But I suggest that you go along this route, which will incorporate whatever thing they're interested in. And they have deer that sort of wander around. Sonia berates the deer because it keeps eating all the herbs that are put out the front. They'll eat anything.
But you know what? They are not really on the route 500, are they? Because they're a little bit off it. But I have heard from many hotel owners who are along the route 500 that they were used to having people stay, like you were saying, Mr. Willie, he would stay for a long time and literally go on long walks and stay like a whole week at a time. Whereas now it's more common for everyone to just stay overnight and then kind of be pacing along. So that the whole way the industry has changed, and it's really sad for most of them because they really like that kind of rapport with their guests, where they come back after a day, of walking, and they can feedback how it's been and stuff. Did they, the two of them, say the same thing about that?
They have a huge following. Trying to get a booking with them, people will go and stay, and they will book for the following year. Because it's just one of those places you're made to feel so welcome. So people will come back time and time again, and they don't. Yes, they do have people that stay for one night, but they do have people that will stay for 2 or 3 days, which is great because that means they can build up a friendship with their guests, and there is a real feeling of family when you go there. Well, for me anyway, there's a real feeling of family. The staff, although they're they come in, they're seasonal staff. They come back year after year. So
because they like it as much as you do.
Because they like it, the conditions are good. They've got, where they're situated is it's just beautiful. I mean, you can sit in the guest lounge.
Yeah, I'm still friendly with the owners, the managers of the Summer Isles Hotel who ran it about, now that's probably 6 years ago. And they only did it for a year in the end, which was a real shame because they made it amazing. And she's a German, Julia, and she was saying at the time that before the Hyatt started, they told them it's in the middle of nowhere. There's one pub, and that's like 30 minutes walking distance. So if you're really, really drunk, you will be able. You have to be able to walk that home. But you will enjoy it, and people did love it, and their staff was all ready to come back, and then there was like things. Anyway, they ended up not able to.
I mean, that shows how good the owners are, that they have people that want to come back to work with them every year, and it's great because when we've been to Kyleskew, there was a young lad called Mark. We saw him a couple of times, and he was absolutely hysterical. He was really good fun. We caught him hoovering our room, doing a almost like a Freddie Mercury, I want to break free type thing. And he didn't see me in the doorway. And when he turned round, I just fell on the bed in fits of laughter because he was just so comical. And it's that rapport that everybody there had built up with their guests, that you felt that you were part of a family. There was just a great camaraderie, and that's one of the reasons why I love it up there. But I mean, there's loads of other fantastic places. I mean, you were talking about going through Glenfinnan. There's a hotel there which is the Glenfinnan House Hotel.
Yes.
Which overlooks Loch Shiel. And again, they have deer that wander into the garden.
We shall show that picture.
Pull that picture up.
Oh, Loch Shiel and
it's
pictures
again. You can never tell what the weather's going to be like. I always like a room with a view and a toilet. I actually quite like a toilet with a view too. That's another story. And sometimes you can look all the way down the valley, and you can actually see Ben Nevis. And other times you'll look out the window and you can't even see across the loch.
Yeah,
it's just great watching the weather drift past. I mean, you don't have to go anywhere. You can just sit and watch.
Yeah, because I remember I had booked a client in there like about 2 years ago, and they were. Obviously, they didn't know what to expect, and they wanted to go walking near there. So I booked them into that hotel. And that evening, it must have been the nicest sunset ever. And he was texting me, saying, "Are you normally a location scout for crazy, movies? Because every evening we had a view which is to die for, which is like out of a movie scene." And it was like, that's it, isn't it? And I was really proud that we managed to get him there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And if you go from, I'm not sure which way you go, but if you head out onto the Ardmachlan Peninsula it's just, you look at the beaches, and if it wasn't so rutty cold, I mean, you could be in the Bahamas, because you've got white sands and blue sea and sunshine, and it is just stunning. But the water is bloody Baltic. It's freezing.
Well, that's the thing with Scotland anyway, right? The water is always going to be, it's always going to be like, what do I say, 15 degrees? Like, people are always like, "Oh, do you go bathing here?" And it says, well, the Scots do, but you wouldn't, people would journey. It's not Italian, Mediterranean 20-degree water or even higher.
Yeah, no. I can just about paddle my feet in it, let alone anything else. I don't do cold water swimming. No.
So many who do, sometimes in their whatchamacallit suits, but sometimes, most of the people just go like that, don't they? And to them, it doesn't matter if it's winter or summer; they just do it.
I know. I'm one of these people that if I'm going to get into something that's not particularly warm, I don't dive in, I don't jump in, I waddle in. I wait for my knees to acclimatise, I wait for my hips to acclimatise, I wait for my waist to acclimatise, and then I just might
maybe
paddle in. I might just think, oh no, sod this, is too cold, and just back out. But no, it's far too cold.
I think I've watched far too much Billy Connolly when he talks about his woolen bathers and changing different colours of blue and white and all that sort of thing. So,
but no, the one of the things I was going to say is, if you're travelling up towards Inverness and you get to Fort William, rather than taking the A82, which is the main road on the west side of Loch Ness, if you turn onto the B862. Which is a B road, and it just takes you round the east side of the loch, and the views around there are absolutely stunning.
Yes,
absolutely amazing. And I if we ever go up Inverness way, which isn't all that often, that's the route that we will take. Forget about the A82, because it's just too fast.
Absolutely. I love going that way as well. I literally yesterday or the day before I posted pictures of a road trip I took with Natalie at the time. And we just went down that route as well. It was amazing sunshine, and we did these fast picture movies as well. So I've got a bit of the route in fast motion. That was quite cool.
It's just great. But that's
you can see, like, at first you don't see Loch Ness at all. You kind of look eastward, but you see the valleys,
Yeah.
Obviously in Scottish. So that's brilliant. But then suddenly you get round almost as if you get round a corner and then suddenly you have the loch right in front of you. Right on top, and it just looks so amazing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, especially if the sun's out.
Because I do think it's actually a better view on the loch than the route every tourist take.
Yeah, because because you're up high, whereas the A82 tends to run next to the loch, and it's it's a fast road. I'd much rather take my time and sort of think, I like the look of that view. Let's stop the car, out with the camera, have a little wander around.
That one is it single track? The B road?
I think it's almost single track.
Almost, yeah. So it's not like with a bigger car. It's not like you could just pull over and wait forever because you might be blocking someone. But you're right. It's definitely a very quiet road and
it's
falls are called Falls of Foya, Falls of Falach. There's falls. Whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah. The famous Nessie hunter lives up at the Inverness end of that road as well.
True.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's got a little, it's almost like a little on-site demountable van that he lives in. And apparently he's world famous. I think he's in the Guinness Book of Records for the most sightings ever of the Loch Ness Monster.
Ah, yes. There was something on the TV about it the other day. His son now does it. The guy, it was a guy in 1964 took a film of the Loch Ness Monster, Nessie, and his son now does the same.
Ah.
So
there's a nice little pub just on the loch side there, just in the car park where he lives.
Ah.
Stopped there with a group once, and we had lunch, and a few people wandered down, and they said he was very interesting.
That's that word, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I think you find eccentric characters like that. There's on the Isle of Skye, you've got the Tiger Man, who's got all the tattoos all over him, and he lives in a cave there as well. Apparently,
that's new to me. I haven't heard that.
He was like a successful businessman from London, came up and just never left, and just became part of nature, and he's turned into a interesting character.
But it's the same in Drumrock on the west side of Loch Ness. Adrian Shine, he's now kind of retired as well, but he was the main Nessie hunter for years and years and years. He obviously did the Loch Ness Experience, and he is definitely a quirky character with his long beard and the long hair, but he managed to kind of get so much going for the whole story of it all. So you got to be thankful for people like him. Keep the fire going.
One of the things that I will say at the moment, and I hope that it's okay to say it, if your viewers are thinking of coming up to Scotland, please, please, please book directly with the hotels, because the booking agencies that are around are being really difficult with regards to refunds because of the virus and the like, and a lot of the hotels that use them are fighting to get their money. So please, use the booking platforms to do research, but book with the hotels. Yeah. Please, please, please book with the hotels.
And a lot of the times you'll find the hotels will usually do you a good deal.
Yeah,
you do book direct.
Yeah, and if you've got any problems, you've got a voice at the end of the phone. Whereas if you book through a booking platform and you've got problems, and I've come across that before now. I've rung a hotel and say, I just want to check my booking, and they've said, we haven't got a booking for you, but I booked through this booking platform. No, I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
So please book directly with the hotels. You've got a friendly voice at the end of the line. And
the lovely family-run hotels, when you've got a husband and wife, they own the place, they run the place. If you want to ask a specific question, they'll tell you because it's theirs.
Yeah.
There's no dealing with managers and management staff and whatever.
No.
It means a lot of the hotel, the big ones, you'll ring a central office and it'll be down in London, and they've never been there. But you ring the place and you say, can we do this to a bedroom? Yeah, we can. Or do we have to approve? No, because it's my bedroom. I own it. If you want to say, it's.
There are so many wonderful little hotels that are family owned, and they need to be supported in these terrible times. So yeah.
Well, we like to do, especially because a lot of our trips that we book privately for people, it's usually 4 or 5 people, 3 people, 2 people. We will use hotels and bed and breakfasts, usually that we've used before. So you can just ring them up and say, we've got 4 of us coming through on this date. Oh, all right then. We're probably shut on those dates. Oh, but can you help us out? And they're like, oh yeah, we got a friend down the road who'll come and open up for you.
Yeah.
Or you don't have to worry about reading reviews because
you know them.
You know them.
Yeah, exactly.
And if we're going to make a bespoke tour and put people who have paid good money for a tour into a hotel,
we want to make sure it's...
if we've been there and we personally know the people that run it,
yeah,
you're not going to think twice about it.
No.
Yeah, no, I can give you a huge list of...
I know, we've already been tapping your brains already. I'm just aware of the time, because we didn't want to keep it way above the 30-minute mark, and we're almost there. Is there anything you would like to say wrapping this up? Or I think we need to invite you again by the looks of it, because we've only managed the West Coast, so next time
West Coast, we've got the Northwest Coast, we've got the borders, we've got Dumfries and Galloway, which is a much maligned part of Scotland. It's beautiful down there. It's a pain in the arse to get to, but there is some stunning places.
Worth it, yeah.
Yeah. And we also need to pick your extensive brains in regards to lovely local ingredients and recipes for all the regions of Scotland. It's for so many years Scotland's had a reputation, almost British food, as being deep fried, boiled, stewed. There's so many more options here. There's so many.
I know
Scotland, and they're staying here. It used to go to Europe or London to make it. So many chefs are now staying in Scotland, and they're so proud of the local produce.
I mean, it really gets up my nose when people say, oh, Scottish food, it's haggis, it's porridge, it's deep fried this, it's deep fried that. No. Have you had Pentland potatoes? Have you had fresh langoustines? Have you had squatties? Have you had squid? Have you had our berries? Have you had our venison? Have you had our wild boar? Have you had our lamb from Shetland that feeds off the seaweed?
The list is long. Okay, we'll do that.
Incredibly long.
We'll do the East Coast, and we'll do Scotland by recipe. How about that?
That'd be great. Yeah.
So the next thing starts. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Thank you, Lee, for having the time with us today. It was wonderful as ever to see you, even though we can't touch each other, hug each other.
We're all in isolation.
Yes, and next week.
Enjoy your isolation.
Next week, Tuesday, 12 p.m, we'll have Stuart Corner, and we'll be talking just about Loch Lomond, I suppose, Cruise Loch Lomond. And then on the Thursday after, back again to the 3 p.m. time slot, we'll have Nadia speaking about Outlander Scotland. So we've got a few guests lined up, so stay tuned.
Yes,